Every culture has its stories. Some, however, have seemingly escaped the bonds of time, dancing over cultures as well as centuries, and delighting the hearts and imaginations of every audience it finds. Some for 80 years. Others have captured hearts for 130 years. Some for 420 years, and others still longer. Why do certain stories have this magical quality? These stories are signs. They point beyond themselves to one story, our story, ours and God's. Stories that especially boast this guiding light as their very foundation are fairy tales. Many of these stories have come to us through the wonderful world of Disney. While many Disney movies can be contemplated independently, we will lightly touch on clips from several and how they point to our story, to salvation history. When we first meet Princess Aurora in Sleeping Beauty, she is walking through a garden. If my heart keeps singing, will my song go winging to someone who will find me and bring back a love song to me? This echoes Adam's desire for a helper who is bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. Nature magnifies the Lord and points to intelligent design. Sleeping Beauty is fundamental theology sprinkled with pixie dust, and it is only after the princess falls into a deep sleep like Adam that she wakes up to a helper who is fit for her. Now, what is it about wishing wells? Wells have a habit of turning up in fairy tales, but that's not the only place they appear. In the Bible, Jesus meets the woman at the well, who represents the people of Israel. In ancient tradition, people went to wishing wells, wishing for wives. Snow White wishes for someone to love, and it is at the well that the prince sings her his one song. Later, Snow White disobeys and falls into the sleep of death after eating a poisoned apple. The only one who can save her is the prince, who wakes her with a kiss and welcomes her back into his kingdom, now as a queen. While Snow White portrays original sin, Cinderella echoes our struggle with concupiscence. Cinderella receives a white gown like that of baptism, but is afraid to share who she truly is with the prince, and so returns to her rags. It's only after she presents herself as she is to the prince that he is able to lift her up from her low estate. When dancing with the prince, she realizes what love is. But in our pilgrimage of conversion in this valley of tears, it is not enough to be a man. The strength of a raging fire must come from outside ourselves, from someone who is mysterious as the dark side of the moon, the Holy Spirit. Like Prince Philip, we must battle with the shield of virtue and the sword of truth, and so, with the woman and her seed, vanquish the serpent. Why are these movies always named after the princess? No movies are named after the prince. What's more, the prince rarely has a name. But consider a wedding. Who is the focus? Who walks down the aisle? The bride. And we, the church, are the bride of Christ. We each find our names in the titles of these movies. This is the thrilling romance of orthodoxy. People have fallen into a foolish habit of speaking of orthodoxy as something heavy, humdrum, and safe. There never was anything so perilous or so exciting as orthodoxy, and the prince has no name because he does not need one. We all know who he is. He is Christ, taking his bride, the church, to live in his kingdom for all eternity, to live happily ever after. To fall in love with God is the greatest romance. To seek him, the greatest adventure. To find him, the greatest human achievement. There is only one song, and it is ours for all eternity.